just see if I can do this here first. Yeah. So a lot of problems with people, like you said, with the back and the rounding over, never arching. There's a lot of issues with, like, I ordered to train a girl who came from Newfoundland to train with me. Her name was Kaina. She's a pro, she does women's bodybuilding. She had feedback from the judges telling her that she needs more back, which is probably the most ridiculous critique they could have given her, because her back is fucking, her lats literally hang over like the side of her body. Like they're literally like slabs of meat like hanging from her. I said to her, I'm like, hit your rear double for me, like your rear double bicep. So when a lot of girls hit it, what they do is they just like spike their foot and then they put their arms out here and then they go like this. It's literally all they do. They just like reach out and then they pull their arms. Guys are different, because guys will hit shots like they'll roll and they'll throw their shoulders back. They understand how to manipulate their back and open up their back through the shot. But that's because, like, thankfully a lot of them have dexterity in their scapula, where I'm able to retract my scapula or open it. So like if I can't see through the shirt, but if I'm tight, if I'm retracting my scapula and I'm tight, this would be me. If I open my scapula, now I'm here. See how I became wider? So I push the mid part of my back out and I push my elbows forward. So a lot of these guys are taught on these shots, especially in rear doubles and stuff like that, they're turned like, oh, turn your elbow. So if I was hitting the shot from behind, like people are looking here, they'll be like, turn your elbows up and you'll open your back. It's not true. It's like, can you squeeze your back and can you open from the middle? So can I open my scapula, which happens to push my elbows forward, but I didn't go like this and make my back bigger, which is like, they'll be like, lean back and turn your elbow. It's like, no, learn how to like squeeze your, like retract your scapula and then open it. It's the same thing as me doing this. If I pull my shoulder blades together and then I go, that's me opening my scapula. Yeah. You see I get like 2 times wider. Yeah, literally. So if I don't understand how to do that at all, I'm definitely not gonna do that when I pose. So if you've never felt that sensation, you've never felt like where you can sink down, I can drop my shoulders and I can open my back, it's not gonna happen when you pose if you don't do it when you train. So an easy way to do that and correct and get people to used to this like feeling of depressing shoulders and opening your back and feeling mobility in their shoulders here is you hang off this, take like a decent weight, doesn't have to be fucking crazy. So if I'm hanging here, this is like my shoulders up in my ears, right? So my scapula is way up, it's open, it's almost, I'm squeezing it down and back, so I'm gonna pull my head back, I'm gonna set my shoulders down, just like I did in that shot. So instead of my shoulders being here, I'm set them down level with my body. Now I'm gonna squeeze that scapula, I'm gonna retract it behind my back, and I'm gonna squeeze into it, and then let it go. So I'm understanding that it's open right now, and then I flex it and drop down. So it's not a full pull down. I'm literally just dropping my shoulders like this and pulling my head out of the way. So I'm rocking shoulder down, dropping head, sliding, sliding. So I feel that elevation, my reach up, and I feel my elbow just down and drop. So it's literally, if I had my hands on it and you see me pull, I'm just going here and I'm going the same way I would hit this. But understand, like guys and girls, or guys especially, will know what I'm talking about. Because a lot of guys will hit their rear double and they'll do weird shit. They'll either put their hands above their head and then they'll go like this and try and open, or they'll put their hands here and do whatever they do. I don't know what they do. But the whole idea is that you want your elbow, I want my elbow to be able to pull back, or wherever my hands go and retract my shoulder, I want to be able to roll my elbow and roll my scapula open. So I want to be able to be here and I want to be able to roll open wide and then play with however I want my back to be. But I want to feel my elbow sweep this out and open my scapula, right? So a lot of guys and girls are having problems with that, so they're getting knocked down by the judges because they can't pose the muscle they have. Like she showed me her pictures of her doing her back, her rear double bi, and she looks tiny. But she's standing in front of me, I'm like, what the fuck happened here? And I can get her to do a lat pull and you'll see this huge lat come out and she'll turn and roll. But then when she hits the shot, it's like, because that's what they're taught, right? And it's not like her fault, it's not making fun of her. It's just like female body, they like tell them to, like, the girls put their like foot like this or something and they come across and they go, it's like this very like feminine shot, right? But same with the guys, they just throw their arms up and they go. and their shoulders are up in their ears and like this, right? So they look like they think they're bigger because they put so much stuff up here. But it's even if you did it through the front double bicep, if I'm here, I want to open up my lats and then throw. So I don't want to be here, I want to be here. And have my chest up, so I can create more width across my top and open up my lats more, right? Like exercises like this, getting your arms to understand that your scapula can retract and draw down into you, getting those shoulder blades to drop and getting that hand to drop at the same time, it's going to cause you to understand how to pose better. Just like rows are going to teach you how to contract your back, they're going to teach you how to roll those shoulders back, contract your back, open up, right? So it's just all these little tips and tricks that I've been seeing lately that seem to go unnoticed, or they seem to be like, people see this shit every day, they do this shit every day, and they don't think of this shit, or they just don't care. They're like, oh, I just want to come in here and fucking lift weights and fucking not think about it, and just know that if I lift heavy and push myself and like really try hard, that it'll all just work out in the end. It's like, it won't. It really won't. Like, it might work out to like the top of an amateur event. It's like saying you're a boxer, right? You're some guy who's coming up, every guy you fight, you're knocking out. So you're an amateur coming up and then you go pro, you fight a bunch of fucking tomato cans who are like just fucking, they're just in there to get beat up. You're knocked out everybody you fought. As soon as you start fighting someone with caliber and who's a real boxer, you can't do that shit anymore. And then your weaknesses are exposed and it's too late to go back. You can't learn how to box again. Most guys aren't willing to do that. They're just used to, I fucking hit him and everybody goes down. It's like, and then you hit the one guy who doesn't go down or slips every one of your shots and you're like, what do I do now? It's pop, 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 and I'm fucked, right? Yeah. So it's the same in bodybuilding. It's just not as like, you don't get that reality check as fast because you're not thrown in there against someone who could literally kick your ass and embarrass you. It's just like over time, this gradual fucking horrible style of lifting and overdevelopment of body parts leads to you not being able to evolve to what you need to evolve to. And you just, one day it's just too late. You're just like, fuck them. I won't even go to an amateur show in this fucking province, to be honest with you, unless I have to. And this shit, like, sorry to everyone who competes who's watching this, but it's fucking, it's fucking rough.
What's the place to be if you want to see
the Olympia?
Yeah.
Or the Arnold.
Yeah.
Even that's, we kind of understand who's the top in that and who's going to win. There's not many surprises. When there is, it's cool, but when you go to these amateur shows nowadays, it's like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just biased because I'm older, but like when I used to compete, even before I competed, like I remember like the guys who I would see bodybuilding that were coming up when I was getting into bodybuilding, I was like, these guys are fucking monsters. I'm like, fuck man, like I'm never gonna fucking look like that. But now I go to these fucking like amateur shows and I'm like, there's like 2 good guys in the show, or like 1 good guy, and you're like, half the time it's the fucking light heavyweight or the heavyweight. It's not even the super heavyweight anymore, the amateurs. You're just like, because the super heavyweight will be like some big blocky guy who's just like got no legs, or his fucking back's horrible. Because he's just a meathead who lifts in the gym and thinks if he gets big enough, that's good enough. And that's what I'm saying. Like they'll continue on that thought, on that pathway, down that road till it leads them off a fucking cliff. And they'll wonder what happened. It's like, well, you didn't fucking do what you're supposed to do, man. Like, it's like being a baseball player and you can only hit fastballs. Anytime someone throws a fucking changeup or a curveball, you just strike out. Like a dude in Major League. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Where the black dude strikes out all the time. He can only hit fastballs. Every time they throw a changeup, he's fucking, and he's like doing voodoo, trying to like.
Someone's watching the training video you did. They said for the lateral raise, if you're creating all the motion from your body by rocking and not pushing up with your shoulder, is your shoulder actually working? It'll work while resisting the negative, but I don't see how the shoulder works when you're going up if your body's creating the motion that drives the dumbbell.
It's a very involved question, Mr. fucking, whatever the fuck your name is. It's not that one is creating more tension than the other. It's about you understanding where tension begins. The stiffies, the stiff people promote it. A lot of them start here for some unknown reason. They think that this is like, that their arm works directly out on a line like this, even though you can see like my arm does that instantly. I can't lift my elbows. If I do this, it's like you can literally see I'm shrugging, right? But anyway, these guys who think that tension needs to start from the beginning, understand that because my lat is forward, so I'm rounded in my back and my lats are forward and I'm caved into my elbow and my shoulder are already forward. As soon as I move this dumbbell to here, there's tension on my delt. So as soon as I rock away, my delt's grabbing. As soon as I walk away, my delt's grabbing. I'm not standing up tall going like this, which would be, I'm only getting at the top range in the negative. Like, Because you guys aren't visually seeing what's going on. That's why your lifting's off. So you don't comprehend movement well, right? So if I'm already here, my arm's in no man's land. Yes, there's no tension from my leg to right about here. Why do I need there to be? What is the point of going like this? If I'm standing here and I try to lift this thing off my body right away, everything but my shoulders working. My neck, my back, I'm cranking my fucking head back to be able to lift this thing up and hold it. Whereas I want my arm to move on its own accord. I'm rocking out here. So as soon as I push away on that hand out on this angle with my elbow forward, shoulders rock forward, I have tension right there on my delt, even if I only went this high. I just happen to rock up through and drive up and then down and fire out. So I'm still moving that 4 inches out to the front. As soon as I feel delt, I push up through, I control back down. So I'm rocking out, pushing down. As you can see, my head's not cranked. I can look at you and do this movement. I don't need to like get my shoulders up in my neck, right? That's the difference, is that when you guys see movement, you mistake it for momentum. It's not momentum. Like, yes, I have momentum in the sense that I'm using the inertia of the dumbbell, which is like what I'm supposed to do. I'm using it as a pendulum. The 15's rocking here. So when I move now, I have to drive my hip through, lift my sternum up, rock away on my hands, and then let my hands fall down the same path. I'm not going up here and then going, or going here and going, and falling away. I'm keeping tension out on my delt the whole time. I sweep out on it. Even if you do this standing here watching me talk about this, your shoulders will get tired within a minute. Just pushing out. So I'm not using my neck. I'm not squeezing my arms. I'm just sweeping my hands away, pushing my top of my palm to the ceiling, rocking away on my delt. And the whole point of that is I don't want to do lateral raises with my traps, which is I see people come to me, they're like, my shoulders aren't any good. That's because they do this. As soon as they pick up a weight, one, their neck's cranked. So this is a lot different than what I was just doing. I look like a robot talking to you, right? So it's this all of a sudden, and they go, do your lateral, and they're like, and they think they have to physically pick up a dumbbell, so they go, like, does that look anywhere near normal to anybody? Like, you're not hitting shit. You're physically picking up a dumbbell. Like, you're literally picking it up. This is a lateral raise, so I'm rising. It's a raise. I'm rising up, settling back down. I'm not going, and then going, it's like, you can do them that way. You're gonna get delts, but it's just gonna suck. Every bit of it's gonna suck. And you're also gonna have traps that are up in your ears like this, because it's this. You see them, they're cranking their neck doing this, because the only way I can be strong here is if I crank my neck and lock down my traps. Now I can move here, no problem. You can see that. If I don't do that, I can't lift it. So I have to get my neck and my head involved, and I have to go. So that's not like form, guys. That's just being a stiff ass, fucking blocky monster dude who's like, my neck's really strong, but I can't lateral raise 15s properly. There's guys I know, literally shoulders double the size of mine. If you get them to do this, they're doing 20 pounds going, because their shoulders have never worked without their neck. So it's, you can like literally you can literally poke them in the neck when they're standing there, and their neck will be tight as hell. Like, it's completely flexed. Like, all these muscles in this neck are like this, because that's where they're lifting from, and they don't even notice it. You'll be like, buddy, your neck's flexed. Like, what? Oh, this guy. Yeah, I talked to him on Instagram. I got into it with him about it.
Oh yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, not into it. I just said it's stupid.
What did he say?
Are you gonna show it?
You honest too?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's
I mean, are you recording me now? It's like, it's beneficial in the sense that, like, if you have a home gym, you have limited equipment, you want to do the exercise, there's nothing wrong with the exercise. And I said that to Eugene when I wrote him, like, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just unnecessary. It's making something that's so easily done and such an easy like movement to do without doing all that, that why make it complicated and do it that way? Like, why even give the option? Unless you're literally, someone wrote you and said, hey man, I have a really hard time doing overhead extensions, like at my house or wherever, or in general. I can't do it. I don't have the equipment. There's something inhibiting me from doing that. What's an option I can do off a cable? Then yeah, that's an option. Yeah. But don't present it to your massive audience as something they should be doing because some guy back in the 30s did it, with a guy holding his legs down, and like these guys had no concept of like what's going on. Like I'm sure like he said to me in the video, he said to me in the response, like, I'm surprised you don't know who such and such and such is. That's a shame. I'm like, why the fuck would I? I'm sure I do know about them because maybe they've originated movements that we currently do that I just have no comprehension of like where they came from. That's fine. But that's not one of the movements that we should fucking be following. So it's like you can find, that's what I was talking about in the other video, you can go back and look at all these old videos. You can find videos of Arnold doing weird ass shit. You can find videos of Franco Colombo doing weird ass shit. That doesn't mean that you should do the weird ass shit and you're gonna look like Franco or look like Arnold. They did it out of necessity. They had no other machines, dude. Like there's literally machines in here that do what that is right there. Everything, there's literally a machine over here. You can do it on a skull crusher, guys. You can take a fucking, that's where the skull crusher came from. I'm doing the same thing. There's no bench to lay my arms on, but I'm doing the same thing here. I'm reaching behind me and I'm extending up. But God forbid I have to learn how to stabilize through my fucking lats and my triceps and be able to throw up through and extend through. You know what I mean? Like God forbid I have to fucking stabilize something. But it's like you have all these options, not to mention just a regular fucking push down. And he agreed with me too. It was like, it's unrealistic in the sense that like you wouldn't want to set up a fucking bench like that in a busy gym at a cable station. We both agree on that. Yeah. But it's like, it's also just it's an unnecessarily difficult movement. So this is the same idea here. When we're pushing up, I'm extending up through. I'm relaxing. I'm stabilizing through my lats, so my lats have to be flared. I have to be leaned back. I have to understand like where I'm firing from tricep and extend up through and press. As strict as I want, even on that cable, he's being as strict as that. There's another fucking variation you can do where you could do it on the cable stack. So if this didn't have a cable on it, obviously between the fucking hole and the thing, I could set it here. I'll shift my butt away from the cable. I could be here and I could lean forward and extend off here and do the exact same thing. This idea of being like in this rigid position and extending off and holding here and just stretching my tricep maximally. First of all, your tricep doesn't stretch. There's no stretch like that. If we're gonna move out through, the elbow has to move, the shoulder joint has to stay down. We need to fire off through the elbow and extend fully through a tricep, right? So this like hunched in position where I'm pushing over on my knees on the floor, grabbing a bar from behind me, which you know all of you are gonna do too heavy. So when you go to pull this bar out and you go to put your thing down here, half of you are gonna fucking tear your rotator cuff. Then you're getting that position gonna be too heavy and you're like, eee! Smash the bar against your fucking head, who goes know what, right? So it's like, that's what I'm saying to the guys, like, you're showing it to an audience like that, who maybe follows you, and they're gonna fucking hurt themselves. When there's all these other options where they have less chance of hurting themselves. And they're way more effective and way more like efficient in terms of like, oh, I walk over here, I just take the bar off and I lean forward and I go like this. Or God forbid I just do a press down or a fucking skull crusher. It's like stuff that's easy, right? These guys, these influencer dudes, movement fucking guru guys, they have to keep thinking about what's the next thing I can make look really difficult that seems also very intricate, but is also not too difficult that people will try it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense just enough. Where it's like, who's watching that video and thinking like, my triceps haven't been growing. This is why. Like, my fucking, this is it, Eugene. Like, you know what I mean? Like, thanks, man. Like, fuck. It's not to mention, like, I'm not making, Eugene's a fucking successful guy. He does very well. Eugene, you look like you're guiding fucking mountain tours, like, through the fucking Himalayas. Like, you don't even look like you lift weights, bro. Like, I got a love for you, but like, don't tell me about lifting weights and building muscle, bro.
Let's see.
What was it, Sam?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about stuff with Sam for this video.
Drop set. Since this is the niche, push out some reps than this.
Well, your fucking curls suck, first of all. It's actually hard for me to watch these curls. It's like fucking making me feel nauseous. What's the next one? Fuck that. Anyone who's doing bicep curls like this, or turning their elbow and going like this, twerking and curling like this, immediately don't watch their video. They're not doing fucking anything. It's fucking awful. It's unnecessary and it's fucking stupid. It's like 1980s bullshit. Like this fucking turning out, doing this with your bicep curl, like it's just shoulder torque and hip torque. I'm literally rocking my hip up and turning my shoulder back and doing this with a dumbbell. Except his elbow is fucking flying way out here for some unknown reason. I think because he has less dexterity. And then the second part, the hammers are this for him. It's like my hammer can just be here. Like if I'm able to keep my wrist in and not be so fucking jacked up in my forearm that I can actually articulate my wrist. I don't need to go and I can get, and saying you can get more reps here. Of course you can get more reps here. You're fucking literally just throwing the dumbbell up, doing this. Like it's not bicep, it's not forearm, it's not shit. So it's like these kids watch that shit and they're like, it's a mechanical drop set. First of all, I don't even know if you know what that means. Second of all, like that ain't it. The curling ain't it. So like give people better advice and stop doing this meathead bullshit. Like that's why, like it's no wonder we're in the place we're in when it comes to like lifting and like the way kids are going about things in the gym, because that's probably the most popular kid on the fucking internet. That's what you're being shown, right? So you come in here and I don't know why my biceps won't grow. And also they'll hump up, they'll fucking grab 40s or 50s and they'll fucking turn to the side and turn this weight up, do this shit and curl like this and think that it's doing something. And then when someone's like, hey, just do a dumbbell curl, normal. So turn to the side, turn your dumbbell open and just roll up. And they do this and they can't break their wrist and they can't scoop their hand and squeeze their dumbbell. That's all I need to get to. And I can go over here. I can rock up here. I keep my arms tight to my body. I just turn in. I maybe articulate my elbow and my hand to supinate here and come up. I don't need to go like this to supinate. It's retarded. Stop misguiding kids, man.